Everyone tells you who you are. Everyone tells you what you like. Everyone tells you, oh, wow, you do this. You're cool at this. You're good at that. I think you should be this. I think you should be that. Everyone defines you except you. I feel you. I really do. I think everyone goes through that phase at least once in their life. You are not alone. But let's talk about it. Welcome to 20s, Flirty, and Thriving with Tochi. This episode is about discovering who you are, discovering who we are, and defining ourselves, kind of determining what our identity is. And I'm very excited to talk about this because I feel like this is something that starts in our late teens, where it feels like we're not sure who we are. Are we what people say that we are, or are we the ones that define ourselves and create our reality? It's really a sensitive topic for me and a lot of people because so many people are living their lives and they're living their lives based off what everybody says, what everybody tells them, and barely living their life for themselves. They don't know themselves. A lot of people don't know themselves. And the first thing I'm going to say is that it's fine. It's okay. Don't put pressure on yourself. And in this era where you go online and everybody is like being very confident, very assertive of who they are, very firm in themselves, it can be scary and it can feel really bad not knowing yourself and not being able to like be confident and be assertive in yourself where you don't even know who you really are. You can't really define yourself. And that is why we're talking about this today, because where else will we talk about things like this except on this podcast? So get ready, get comfortable, and let's get into it. Now, in order for me to properly get into this topic, I want to tell you guys what happened to me this last week or when I celebrated my birthday. So on my 21st birthday, me and my family, we had dinner. It was great. It was lovely. It was very cutesy, very demure. Anyways, while we're having dinner, we decided to play a game. Who knows Tochi best? And while playing this game, so how it goes is like, what is Tochi's favorite food? What's Tochi's favorite color? Who is Tochi's best friend? Things like that. And I just realized, like, starting with the stuff that, what is Tochi's favorite this or favorite that, or what does Tochi prefer? Everybody was feeling it. Everybody was feeling it. And a year ago, if most people I'm really close to couldn't get or guess what I really like or things about me, it would have really hurt me a lot. But while I sat there, I laughed it off. I was very, very secure in it. And by the time I came back, I was literally washing plates. And all of a sudden, it came to me that I wasn't bothered by it anymore because I do not define myself by how people see me. I do not define myself by how much people know me. I am confident and I'm secure in what I know of myself, and that is enough. A year ago, if someone had told me, oh no, your favorite color is not pink, it's purple, I would have said to question if truly I know my favorite color, if truly I know what my favorite color is or things about myself. Because I feel like if someone else cannot notice something about me, then it's not really real. It hasn't become a reality. One thing I learned in this journey is that you do not need people to approve your reality before you accept it is your reality. You don't need people to approve of you before you accept yourself the way you are. Many times we do things because we know that people approve of it, or we dress a certain way because that is what's currently trending. That's how people are dressing now. But I want to ask you, do you really like that? Do you really like that? Like, there's this question a lot of us don't ask ourselves. Like, we do things, we say things. Have you ever asked yourself, do you really think that? Like, deep down, do you really agree to that? Deep down, do you really even like that person? But you get what I'm trying to say. A lot of times we have succumbed so much to what everybody says it is. What do you say it is? And the more you ask yourself these questions, the more you figure out who you are and how you think, what you really feel, what's important to you. Not what they tell you is important. What is important to you? And I know it's a bit overwhelming because I don't know how to explain it. Like, asking yourself these questions, all this, when people say go and meditate, go and do self-reflection, it's not a Yeah, I'll just sit down now, just realize everything about my life. It's not easy. I know it's not easy. It's not easy. If it was easy, every single person would have done it. Self-love isn't easy. If it was easy, everyone will be able to do it. Everybody will love themselves and respect themselves and treat themselves right. And in turn, it will not hurt anyone. Just like the Bible says, love your neighbor as yourself. It's as simple as that. The reason why people cannot love their neighbors is because they do not love themselves. The reason why people cannot love themselves is because they don't love themselves. And that is where people cannot explain it. Like everyone can explain, oh, I can't be this to this person. I can't treat this person right because I can't love myself. Okay, why can't you love yourself? And that's why a lot of people cannot answer because they don't know themselves. You know, you can't love someone you haven't met. But if you meet the person, you can grow to love them. You can grow to understand them. You can grow to cherish them. You don't know yourself. That is why you have not been able to love yourself. Now, let me just tell you something before we go further. You are more than what people define you as. You are more than what people can see in you. Do you know why? Because they can only see you and experience you a little bit. But you are a mind, a soul, a spirit, and a body all in one. You are greater than what people say that you are. You are greater than whatever people might want to identify you as or label you as. So don't accept labels. Don't use that to judge yourself or to control your life. Don't use that to say that maybe I'm just this because everyone says I'm that. No, you are not. You are a whole amazing being, amazing person that is yet to be discovered. Because if you do not know yourself, there's no one that's gonna know you. Because nobody can know you as much as you know yourself. Now that's off the table. Let's go into actually knowing yourself. Now there are a lot of things I see online about how another way to know yourself, to getting yourself is to date yourself. And to be honest, I feel like dating is very different everywhere. Dating differs in different societies, in different economies, in different cultures, in different environments. So, are you trying to say that it's based on where I am that I'll be able to properly know myself, or based on the way society deems things I'm going to use to know myself? I don't think so. The best way to know yourself is to ask yourself questions. The best way to know yourself is to ask yourself, to tell yourself the things you want to know about yourself. I don't know. That's tautology or whatever. But let me break it down. How do you know yourself? You have to ask yourself questions about you because nobody can answer those questions but you. So the more you ask yourself, you would answer those questions. Then you would know you. I don't know if it's making sense or if it's becoming confusing. I don't know. I wish I could draw like a graph that explains it. See yourself as a different entity. See yourself as a different person. So let's go. Let's call you A and call you B at the same time. So A needs to know B, but A is also B. In order for A to know B, A has to step away from B and ask B questions and study B and listen to B give it answers. Listen to the way B responds. Listen to what B actually feels. I don't know if you're getting... So let's use real life scenarios, case studies, so that we don't keep getting confused. So I wanted to know myself. I treated myself like I'm a client and I'm meant to be my manager. Like, I want to manage myself. I am the client. In order to manage myself properly, I need to know my client properly. So I would do this thing where, like, after a day, I'll come back and then I would sit down and I'll ask myself why I did certain things. So let's say in class, they asked a question. I was the only one that raised my hand. And I raised my hand the second time. And I raised my hand the third time. And I asked myself, why do you keep raising your hand multiple times where you've already answered? And it was just to help me understand why I do the things I do and kind of figure out where it's coming from. What really did I want to do? Did I do it because I wanted to do it, or did I do it because that's what everybody does? And when I asked myself that question, I realized that genuinely I enjoy school. And that was when I realized that, do you know what? I've been running from this idea that I'm a nerd, that I'm a person. I always say, no, it's just by God's grace that I'm a bit smart, but I'm not really in it. But do you know, this last year, I've accepted it, I've embraced it, and I've used it to brand myself because I loved school. But everyone makes it cringe to be a nerd and cringe to like school, and everybody hates school. Now, I don't. When I say I like school, I don't like the stress. I won't lie, but I genuinely like learning. Like while a teacher is teaching, I genuinely am paying 100% attention, and I want to know the answers, and I want to answer the next question, and I'm excited for it. And I feel for a long time I tried to repress that so much, or just try to be like, oh, maybe I'm just kind of no. I genuinely like that, and I repressed it so much because it didn't feel like the cool thing to do or the cool way to act, or did you get? So I always put it to the back of my mind. And towards the end of my school journey, and realizing that I'm a nerd, and it's fine if I'm a nerd, and it's fine if I like school, and it's fine if I like math, and it's fine if I really want to go back to class and learn something new, learn calculus and learn matrices all again. It's fine. And that is who I am. And that's what makes me unique. And that's what helps me when it comes to exams and comes to reading, because I genuinely care. Now, I don't know if this makes any sense to you. Now, let's go back to me being a manager, me being a client. So this is how I slowly studied myself. I slowly asked myself questions. I slowly watched the way I behave and tried to understand why I behaved the way I did and see what was really me, what wasn't really me. And the things that I realized they were not really me, like trying to act as if I'm not a nerd and trying to downplay it. It's not me. And slowly I tried to remove those things from myself, detach myself from it, detach myself from those things. And things that felt more like me, I tried to really incline into it even more. I'm a yapper. I talk a lot. Like, I can't stop talking a lot. And genuinely, at a point, I hated the fact that I talk a lot because I felt like I was always oversharing, I was always over talking, and nobody really cared. I'm not trying to figure out why I talk a lot. I always talk a lot. I'm an only girl, and I spent a lot of time while growing up alone by myself. Not in a bad way, but mostly just by myself, figuring things out by myself. So if you give me the chance to talk, I will talk. If you give me chance, I will talk your ears off. So I knew that one I knew a long time ago. So I wasn't questioning myself on why I like talking a lot. I was questioning myself on why I always felt ashamed every time I spoke a lot. And I realized it came from when I was younger. You talk to boys because I had more boys around me. You talk to them, and it's like they're not really flowing with what you're saying, so they don't really care. And then I internalized that and felt that every time I talk to people, deep down, they don't really care. It's very possible that they didn't. But I asked myself, why do I let this haunt me so much? If they don't care, and so what? And so what? That's something I said to add to my life. Okay, if someone thinks this, and so what? Is that who you want to be? Is that who you are? If you know that and you're fine in that, every other thing, and so what? Like I said, now, client manager, I realized one, the ideas of myself that were not really for me, I said to remove them. And then the things that I let constrain me or make me feel less of myself or make me feel bad for being myself, I asked myself, and so what? So that's two things now. I hope we're following. I hope this is going well. And now the last thing from this client manager relationship was realizing that I've started to understand myself, but not everything about me is for everyone. So as the manager, I realized my clients can become very successful in whatever field she wants to go in, but it's not everything about her that everybody needs to know. Only I, the manager, need to know, and that is fine. I don't know if you get me. And that's when I realized that there's some things about myself that are wonderful, that are lovely, and only I need to know it. I don't need to figure it out and tell people. People don't need to identify it in me before I believe it is true. I know it's in me and I believe it is true, and that is enough. We let people validate things about ourselves before we believe it about ourselves. Like some people know they are pretty, but if someone doesn't call them pretty, they don't feel pretty. Please, can you look in the mirror? Nobody needs to tell you you're pretty before you should believe you're pretty. Now, there's some wonderful things about ourselves. There's some things about us that you knowing that is more than enough. Everybody doesn't need to know it. All you need to do is know it, believe it, nurture it, grow it. People don't need to see it in you before you know it's in you. You have greatness within. People don't need to see your greatness within before you believe you have greatness within. Your greatness within might not be another person's greatness within. The way it's going to manifest in your life is not the way it's going to manifest in other people's life. So stop thinking that until someone else sees it before you believe it's there. It is there. You are great. You are amazing. Nobody needs to tell you. Nobody needs to approve it for you. Nobody needs to validate it before you believe it. Do you get what I'm saying? And now, in the other side of really figuring yourself out is figuring that you are also the villain. There's this common theory, yin, yang. There's good and there's bad, and that's how the world is in balance because there's good and there's bad. No human being is entirely innocent or is without sin or is without negative parts of themselves. And I think one of the hardest parts in knowing yourself and loving yourself nevertheless is realizing your negatives and choosing to love yourself despite it. Now, two things I would say. There's this whole thing of love yourself, love yourself, love yourself. If you love yourself, but you allow the negative things in your life to ruin things around you, you do not love yourself. You are avoiding the situation. You are avoidant. You are running away from the real problem. You facing the negative things about yourself head on is you loving yourself. Because if to say a relationship now, you are married with a partner, your partner is going to annoy you for the rest of your life. You facing it head on is you choosing to love that person. You ignoring that and running away from it is not you loving that person. So if you do that to yourself, you are sabotaging yourself. You kind of, in a way, have refused to accept yourself for who you are. There's some things about yourself that you realize are being negative. When you face these things head on, it means you are actively trying to not be that negative person, to not be that bad person. You are aware of it and you are conscious of it. Now, like I said, it's not everything you need to tell people. You don't have to wait till somebody tells you that. I've noticed that you lie a lot. I've noticed that, you used to stay. You don't have to wait for someone to tell you. Someone doesn't need to validate it. This one's still good. Nobody needs to validate it before you know that you have that problem. And you know the truth, you'll probably know before someone tells you that I've noticed that you do this a lot. I've noticed that you do that a lot. You'll probably know because before you do things, the thought crosses your mind. And before, sometimes you have a thought more than 1,000 times before you actually take action. So ask yourself, why do I think this way? Why do I do like this? Okay, how do I manage this? How do I work on it? How do I become better? Not for anybody, but for myself. How do I become better for me? That is you choosing to love yourself. That is you taking out time to know yourself, to be one with yourself, and to create an identity for yourself. All these things I'm saying does not mean that you can only ever be one thing. It does not mean that you can only ever realize yourself once. The whole point of evolution is that we keep realizing ourselves. Like even in innovation, they find out something, and then in that thing, they find out another thing, and it makes it better, and it makes it better, and it makes it better. And you know what? They say, you know what? That's fine. That's okay. We want to start a new thing all entirely. And they do that. And that is exactly what you can do with yourself. This is like in branding. Celebrities always rebrand themselves after a period of time. If not, they stay stagnant. Human beings, we like change. I won't lie, there's some people that they can be one kind of person for the rest of their life and they're okay with it. And the reason I'm saying this is that if that's what you want to be, go ahead and be. But don't ever feel like, oh, I've realized that this is who I am and I'm stuck being like this. You can create your reality. Now, let's say I'm a manager and I have a client. As the manager, I create the reality of my client. Study my client and be like, I see this is who you are. I think this part of you needs to shine more. This part of you needs to shine more. Do you know what? What if we try this out? It seems like you can do this. You can rebrand yourself. You can give yourself a whole new life. You can give yourself a whole new identity. By the way, at the end of the day, it's your life. It's you that is you. So you can define who you is. So don't feel trapped in a version of you that you're not satisfied with. The truth is you will never be satisfied with any version of you because we're not even satisfied with money, cars, clothes, stuff like that. Talk less of ourselves. So go ahead, create multiple versions of yourself, live out multiple versions of your life because it's your life. I just want to say this to everyone out there that struggles with knowing themselves, that struggles to say, oh, this is who I am. You are not alone, but you don't need a definition of yourself. You don't need an identity. That identity you're seeking is an identity that is validated by others. The only identity you need is the one that you give yourself. You don't need anyone to validate it for you. You just need to give it to yourself. And I want to tell you that you are amazing, you're wonderful, you're strong, you're that girl or that guy or whatever. And my last advice is that spend time being your own manager. Spend time managing your life, managing yourself. Spend time knowing yourself. Spend time asking yourself all the plenty questions you want people to ask you. And spend time ranting about all the various things you want to rant to other people. Rant it to yourself and figure it out by yourself. And the more you figure things out by yourself, the more you wouldn't question yourself anymore. And when someone says something, you're like, nah, it's fine. Thank you. Like, don't really need you to tell me who I am, but it's fine. Do you get? I hope this was really helpful. I really, really hope this reached the right people it was meant to reach. I just feel like this message is so deep and very important to me, and I really hope I could help someone out there. I really hope you're impacted. I really, really hope this was amazing to listen to. And once again, please don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and watch us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. And we're back every Friday by 7 p.m. I'm always going to take comments and questions, so you guys can leave them down below, and I'll answer them or make videos on them. So let's keep it going. Remember, we are in our 20s, we are flirty, and we are thriving.